Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Let's give it a... There we go. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. We are, once again, in exactly the same place we left off. It's not a problem. We just are. But I've actually got a plan this time. I've actually got a plan. There we go. I've actually got a plan. This plan is... This plan is actually plan out where we want both the monorail and the road to go. In a sense. Because currently the city is very contained. So, I was thinking, what if we make it a bit, well, bigger? In the sense that if we take the roads and we plan them out, we can figure out putting buildings between them and doing plazas like this and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to use yellow wall for the road. I keep forgetting how... I really did make it quite wide, didn't I? It's not a problem, I just... Realizations. So yes, roads. Also junctions, because currently... I don't think the monorail will have junctions, because... It's a monorail. Actually, scratch that, trains have junctions, monorail can totally have junctions. Don't know what I'm on. Road definitely needs them. Ooh, we could do a roundabout. It'd be really frustrating to build, but do a roundabout. British, we like our roundabouts. If you haven't seen them already, please go search up aerial photos of Spaghetti Junction. It's called that for a reason. I've never tried to drive on it. I never want to try and drive on it. I've been around it though, but Spaghetti Junction is an absolute nightmare. I mean, it must work though. But yeah, we have... I don't think how many roundabouts there are on us. I mean, I can think of many off the top of my head. Not big fancy ones with names, because those do exist, but roundabouts nonetheless. Right, let's do our tried and true method for circling. See, once you understand how to build circles in Minecraft, they become a lot easier. I'm just hoping this is going to look circular enough. I haven't accidentally made it too square, because it's very easy to make things square in Minecraft. One, two, three. That. Right, we'll finish it off, see how it looks. Three, two again. Oh. There's a pattern to these things. There we go. It is a little square, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's definitely circular. But if I'm at the centre of the road, how much of a roundabout are we really going to get? Oh, that's a good question now, because the road's got to go 5 blocks in. Well, there's a always be 5, but if we ignoring 4, 5. If we ignore those little cornery bits and we make sure the rest of it is at 5, we can then see how much centre we have to work with. Oh, actually it might be quite a lot of centre to work with. That's interesting. Huh. Oh, do classic, you do a statue or something, or garden in the middle of your aha, we're back. Being interrupted. It's the problem with living with people. You get interrupted. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it stops being particular. See the circle, as much as the circle I've got works, you can see how it sort of stops being curvy. When you get smaller. That's 5. There we go. It's sort of the end of it. Hold up. Or if it's just looking like that, because right, I was getting confused because I hadn't finished building the bit I was trying to build. That's why. What I probably should have done with the road that I might. Oh look, you can see. Oh, it does look a bit oddly square. Right, well it's not going to go in this direction so much because there's the cube. Oh, we could go on a diagonal, make things real awkward for myself. I'd say there's a straight on that at the end of the cube becomes a T-junction. That heads off one, bring out another few blocks. One goes in this direction around this side of the cube. There'll be like a, I was going to say this big loop around the cube, but there won't be. Oh, unless there's like a way to bring the road round, so you have to come through. Like there's buildings right on this corner, so instead of driving, you've got to come, because that we're not going to get the road in there, is you have to come round. Ooh, ideas. This is fun. Ideas. Right. I bring the wall this way? Despite the fact that we know where it's going. You know what, we'll bring it a bit just to make it really obvious that the road's going to go in that direction. It's also going to go in this direction. Oh, I forgot how to do junctions. Are we going to do any kind of giveaway lines or? Yum. Oh, actually, because of the way I said the road worked. Let's see how this looks. With me. Right, note to self. Next time you have to make a circle, you want to be using your outside of your circle to draw your pattern. Right, it will come out that far. It will go in that far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I make that one? Well, I'll move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another one. How we can match these up. Okay. So if we push. Yes. Huzzah! It's not the best curve in the world. Unless I bring that back and do that instead. Or does that look more curvy? I think that looks better. Right, we've got our curve. We can actually use for our outside. Curves are hard. If it was a harder. We removed that one so it was only 4. So it's 3. It is 3. And it's 2 twice. 1, 2, 3. And it's 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. If I'm right, that center one. Yeah, lines up with the center there. Yeah, that'll do. We'll plan out the rest of the system, then we can come back and finish it off. Ooh, I'm really proud of that monorail train I built last time. I think it's really, really cool. Right, so if that's where that's going, this road needs to go somewhere. Do we build another roundabout? Do we go very British and put roundabouts everywhere? Could do. I think what I might do with this one is, because curves are hard, instead of doing curve necessarily, we'll bring the road out from here, bring it sort of, yeah, it'll be another curve. Gently curve it. Hold it. We'll do the right angle first, and then we can work on curving it. Bearing in mind this central curve will stop to me much as we figure out the inner and outer curves, because as it might have become obvious with the we're missing do need to finish the back of this building. Also, to add in the glazed terracotta. Behind the glass, the glazed terracotta actually looks really nice, I think. It's like giving it a bit of extra colour, rather than necessarily just being the lights. I've forgotten what the green one's called. They're not in coloured blocks. I think they should be. They won't be in there. Functional blocks. The verdant frog lights. I was going to call them pearl, but I think I've just got pearlescent moon on the brain. Oops. Oh well. Not a big deal. So the road goes this way. I had a story I was going to tell. I don't remember what that story was now. I'm being handed gifts. Thank you. Very kind of them. I had a story I was going to tell. I can't remember what that story is now. Oh well, it'll come to me. I could just start with embarrassing childhood stories. You know, why not? Don't even necessarily need to be embarrassing childhood stories, just childhood stories. Oh, I've got a very, very quick one right off the top of my head. It was the time I went to Disney World. That was a very good Christmas. Really good Christmas. I, with the spending money I'd been given, decided to buy myself one of the Disney lightsabers. I now, because of a friend I used to have, now have a much more expensive, far nicer metal hilt one. But I bought this one at Disney because I'm a big fan of Star Wars. It's very cool, very fun. Coruscant itself is very much an inspiration for the whole city and the way I want to do the levels. Just big Star Wars fan. I once went on a several-hour deep dive in Star Wars just because I wanted to know if the big room in the Senate building where they do all their meetings had a special name. I honestly don't remember, because I remember some of the other things I found out. I don't remember if it had a special name or not. As far as I remember correctly, it didn't. It didn't in fact have a special name. So I was searching for something that didn't exist, but I ended up going on a fairly deep dive about how the Senate works. I know that there was once a Hutt in charge of the Senate, and Hutts live a long time. Also have a predisposition to greed, which, you know, as you might imagine, in some cases can certainly be a problem. Oh, I'll have to curve it here again, because I'm trying to do the roads a bit like railroads, and they don't do right angles unless it's a junction. They curve instead. Oh, I've made things real hard for myself here, haven't I? Nope. Breathe. So it's got a curve around here. Right, I was talking about a thing. There was a hut in charge of the Senate. And this hut was in charge for a very long time. Like a very long time. That's a very subtle curve. I don't think that'll look curvy enough when I do the rest of it. Right, but this hut was in charge for a very long time because they live a very long time. I mean, think Jabba the Hutt was around when Anakin was very much in charge of things when Anakin was tiny baby. And then, okay, I say that Anakin Skywalker ultimately didn't actually live very long. He got to, I think, about 46, which, I mean, given all he went through in his life, I think is fairly impressive. But that also was about it he got to. So, oh, hold up. I've built this one too far out. There we go. Those are my edges for the road. Now I can actually figure out the curve. They've been in charge for a long time, and that's where they implemented a law much like the US has, where, because in the US the president can only serve 2 full terms totaling 8 years. Funnily enough, the Senate in the Republic in Star Wars has much the same rule, which got imposed because this hut was in charge for like 2 centuries or something. Which, funny enough, you know how everyone's a bit like, ooh, Palpatine, it's doing questionable stuff, you know, throughout the Clone Wars. It's like, I don't see how that's a question. Yes, he was supposed to have been out of power 2 years before the Clone Wars even started. And you're all like, maybe he's corrupt. This man's been in power longer than he should, even before he got emergency powers and got voted into the position he got. Because of the, you know, the emergency powers and whatnot is part of the reason he was able to turn them into Emperor anyway. But the fact that he hadn't already been ousted, because by Republic law he'd been in the position too long, suggests far deeper issues with the Senate than just Palpatine's machinations. I mean, obviously there would have been tensions rising with the Separatists beforehand, but they weren't actually at war. There was no need for emergency powers. Therefore, should have still had an election. Palpatine should not have been in charge. So I learnt that. Anything else? I mean, I did a research on the Jedi. That's still probably horrible pronunciation. The Jedi being... Okay, there is enough gap. The Jedi being... It's spelt with an apostrophe. But then being the precursors to both the Jedi and the Sith Order. It's funny because the Sith also existed as a species within the realm of Star Wars. They're very different from the Sith Order as a Force cult, religion, whatever. Very different from each other. Also the amount of other, like, Force religions that exist within the galaxy that are outside of being the Jedi or the Sith. Funnily enough, you have options. I know that Plo Koon's species on their home planet, they had a separate kind of Force cult religion And I believe he actually went and learnt stuff with them for a bit. Even, perhaps he even started there and then later became a member of the Jedi Order. Also, I can't look at the scene in The Phantom Menace. I should keep doing stuff while I'm talking. So I can't see the scene in The Phantom Menace where all the Jedi Council are like, Anakin's too old and we don't want to accept him because he's afraid. But then also the reason they don't want to accept him is because they're afraid of what he might become. It feels very, well, hypocritical of them, I guess. You know, we're all like, no, we cannot allow this child because he might, because he's got too much fear, so he might become evil. Like, dudes, he's a small, scared child in front of you that's been taken away from everything he's ever known. Of course he's scared. Children get scared. That's a thing they do. They don't know how the world works. They don't have plans or ideas about how they can solve issues yet. But, yeah. Anyway, I have feelings. I have some fairly strong feelings. Also I saw a screenshot recently of Dooku's whole thing to Palpatine about the problems with the Jedi Order, and that problem being Yoda and the fact that he's been in a position of power for too long, of which I can't look at and disagree. There are reasons why the US and the Senate and other places have laws about how long someone can be in power. That's why even in the UK, even if I don't believe there's a limit on how many terms someone can serve, you are still required to have an election at least every 5 years. Like, the election itself, at the very least, is still a requirement to give people options. So, it's not entirely wrong. I understand that they're perhaps more of a religious group than thing, and in many ways charitable organisation, but that doesn't mean having one person think, and then he ends up respected by everybody because, you know, he's Grandmaster Yoda and everyone listens to him, and it's like, hold up a moment. Hold up. The way they did things when Yoda was young, the way they do things now are different.